Modern people can no longer imagine their lives without photography, as it allows them to preserve moments that will never be repeated. In this video, I present to you a selection of photos from the past that reveal unique events as well as the fates and emotions of people. Enjoy watching. On October 22, 1895, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a terrible train crash occurred at Montparnasse station in Paris. The passenger train failed to stop, and traveling at about 40 kilometers per hour, broke through the 60-centimeter thick station wall and plunged 10 meters down onto Rue de Rennes. As a result of the accident, one person, a newspaper vendor whose kiosk was crushed, died, and 6 people were injured. Andre the Giant, whose real name was André René Roussimoff, became famous not only as a legendary wrestler, but also for setting impressive records in beer consumption. It was officially recorded that he drank 119 bottles of beer, each 350 milliliters, which is equivalent to over 41 liters in 6 hours. Despite the enormous quantity, the alcohol had little effect on him. He would simply fall asleep peacefully. This photo captures the moment when Aboriginal man Tom Nuyutuna uses a phone booth for the first time, newly installed in a village in Arnhem Land, Australia. The shot was taken in 1980 by photographer Petsutsa Penny Tweedy. This moment marked an important step for the indigenous population of Australia as they began to blend traditional lifestyles with the achievements of technological progress. Vasily Arkhipov entered history forever as the man who prevented a nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. As a senior officer aboard the Soviet submarine B-59, he refused to authorize the launch of a nuclear torpedo. In a critical situation, when the submarine was surrounded by the American fleet, and the crew believed that war had begun, it was Arkhipov who showed restraint and convinced the command to refrain from making a fatal decision. Experts believe that if it hadn't been for Arkhipov's decision, the torpedo launch could have triggered a full-scale nuclear conflict, the consequences of which would have been catastrophic for all of humanity. In 2017, he was posthumously awarded the Future of Life Award for his outstanding actions aimed at preserving humanity. In 1997, an unusual photo was taken in West Hollywood, showing famous actor Keanu Reeves having breakfast with a homeless man. While walking around the city, the actor noticed the man and decided not just to help it financially, but to spend time with him. Reeves treated his new acquaintance to a sandwich and a beer, and they talked for about 2 hours, sitting right on the ground. The actor behaved completely casually and respectfully toward his companion. The photo caused a wide public reaction. Many admired the star's humanity, while others responded with misunderstanding. This photo from 1944 captures the moment a French woman pours tea for a British soldier. Interestingly, the photo was taken in the midst of fierce battles, as the Allies were conducting the Normandy landings to establish the Western Front. In this photo taken in 1982, Stephen King is seen working at a Wang 230-word processor. The device, which could be called a smart typewriter, cost an impressive $12,000 at the time. The famous author wrote many of his works on this equipment in the early 1980s. This photograph features one of the strongmen of the 20th century. In one hand, he holds his son aloft, and in the other, a crate of milk. At that time, it was fashionable to publicly display physical strength. In this photo, we see 2 Taiwanese divers. If you look closely at their wrists, you'll see watches, not just any, but Rolex Submariners. These were specially designed for divers and are highly water resistant. The watches were used by many renowned divers and organizations, including Jacques-Yves Cousteau and the British Royal Navy. Angelina Jolie attended the Oscars for the first time in 1986. She was only 10 years old. She was present at the ceremony with her father, John Vautier, who had been nominated for his role in the film Runaway Train. At the ceremony, young Angelina wore a white lace dress that many considered old-fashioned and not age-appropriate. Yet even then, the girl attracted the cameras with her sweet appearance. This boy is Jimi Hendrix. The photo was taken in 1956. Hendrix went on to become a legendary guitar virtuoso, recognized as one of the greatest musicians in the history of rock music. He revolutionized guitar playing and was the first to popularize guitar sound effects like distortion and wah-wah. This image shows one of the Romanian protesters following the fall of Nicolae Ceausescu's regime. The event took place in December 1989, during the Romanian Revolution, when mass protests led to the dictator's overthrow and execution. In 1996, rapper Busta Rhymes went on tour with Smoke and Grooves. During one of the concerts, he met the children of legendary reggae artist Bob Marley. One behind-the-scenes photo from the filming of Jaws captures a moment of conversation between Steven Spielberg and Roy Scheider, who played Police Chief Martin Brody. Notably, Spielberg, only 26 at the time, proved himself a talented director, and Roy Scheider delivered a stellar lead performance, which greatly contributed to the film's success. In 1994, Quentin Tarantino's cult crime film Pulp Fiction was released. It starred John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, and Uma Thurman. The film received critical and audience acclaim, winning the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Its budget was $8 million, and it grossed over $213 million worldwide. In 1931, Betty Robinson, the first female Olympic champion in track and field, was involved in a biplane crash. Doctors who examined her severely injured body assumed she was dead and sent her to the morgue. But the undertaker noticed signs of life and saved Robinson. She spent 11 weeks in the hospital, where doctors predicted she would be paralyzed for life. However, not only did she learn to walk again, she returned to athletics, and in 1936 won Olympic gold in the 4x100 meter relay. This photo shows Charles Schulz with his dog, who inspired his beloved comic character Snoopy. Although Schulz's pet was an English pointer and Snoopy is a beagle, the artist still captured the dog's personality and habits in the comic strip Hero. Polish wrestlers Jan Falandis and Adam Sandurski, participants in the 1980 Moscow Olympics, recreated their iconic photograph years later. The original image featured the striking height difference between the athletes. John Falandis stood at 156 centimeters and Adam Sandurski at 214 centimeters. The two remained close friends and in 2019 decided to recreate the old photo, showing how time had changed their appearance but not their friendship. On May 25, 1965, photographer Neil Leifer took the legendary photo of the boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston. The image captures the moment Ali towers over his fallen opponent. Leifer was just a few meters from the ring and managed to capture the perfect shot. It later appeared on the cover of the Sports Illustrated special issue, Greatest Sports Photos of the Century. In 1934, future U.S. President Gerald Ford was studying at the University of Michigan alongside talented athlete Willis Ward, one of the first African Americans in the university football team. During a game against Georgia Tech, the opposing coach refused to play if Ward participated. The university administration benched Ward, and Ford, outraged by this decision, chose to leave the team in protest. This incident greatly influenced Ford's views on racial prejudice. On October 23, 1943, a train arrived at Auschwitz carrying 1,700 Polish Jews, among them ballerina Francesca Mann. The new arrivals were not registered as prisoners. They were told they would be transferred to another camp after disinfection. The women were taken to a special room near the gas chamber and ordered to undress. At that moment, Francesca, realizing what was happening, made a desperate move. She distracted the guards with a dance, grabbed a pistol from one of them, and opened fire, killing one officer and wounding another. However, this did not stop her or the others. They were all soon killed. After Freddie Mercury's death, he left the majority of his fortune and the Garden Lodge mansion in London to marry Austin. In his will, he noted, "You would have been my wife, and it would all have been yours anyway." Mary remained by the singer's side until the very end, and after his death, she was also entrusted with scattering his ashes in a secret location as Mercury had wished. This photo shows Joan Trumpauer Mulholland. In 1961, she joined the Freedom Ride, a group of activists who traveled through the southern United States by bus, protesting segregation. For participating in this action, she was arrested and sentenced to 2 months in a maximum security prison in Mississippi for disturbing the peace. In 1991, the biographical crime drama Mobsters was released. The leading roles were played by Christian Slater, Patrick Dempsey, Costas Mandylor, and Richard Grieco. The film was promising but turned out to be a flop. This photo shows Viggo Mortensen as a child. The actor made his film debut in 1985 in the movie Witness. However, worldwide fame came to him with the role of Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Mortensen is a versatile creative person. He engages in painting, photography, music, and poetry, and he is fluent in English, Spanish, Danish, and French. Cameron Diaz began her film career in 1994 with a lead role in The Mask, where her partner was Jim Carrey. The film was a huge success, and the actress instantly became a Hollywood star. By the late 1990s, Diaz proved her versatility by starring in the drama Being John Malkovich and established herself as one of the leading romantic comedy actresses and sex symbols of the decade. In this photo, we can see a humorous shot where a man is lighting a cigarette for himself. To create this effect, he used a technique of double exposure. In one frame, he held a lit cigarette, and in the other, he was lighting it. Thanks to this trick, photographers of the last century created many interesting photo illusions. In 1971, Tina Turner performed at the Schaefer Music Festival. This was an important event in her career, as many famous performers of the time gathered there. That same year, Turner released the hit Proud Mary, which earned her her first Grammy Award. This photograph was taken in 1967. It shows a young couple from Japan. Shortly after this photo was taken, they got married, and their union turned out to be strong and lasting. In 2018, the couple decided to recreate the photo and posed again in the same place, in the same pose, and on the same motorcycle. In the 1970s, country singer Dolly Parton reached the peak of her popularity. Her image with bright makeup and tight clothing made her one of the most noticeable and recognizable stars of the time. However, despite her stage persona and popularity, Parton remained an open and kind person. Angelina Jolie's first appearance in film took place in early childhood. In 1982, in the movie Lookin' to Get Out. There, she played a cameo role alongside her father, Jon Voight. Jolie received her first serious role in 1993 at the age of 18. She played the lead role of the anthropomorphic robot, Casella Cash Reese, in the film Cyborg 2. In this photo, we see Liv Tyler, Joaquin Phoenix, Billy Crudup, Jennifer Connelly, and Joanna Going during the filming of the melodrama Inventing the Abbotts. This film became a significant stepping stone for the then up-and-coming young actors. Linda Carter became famous thanks to her role as Diana Prince in the TV series Wonder Woman, which aired from 1975 to 1979 on CBS. Her superhero image in a distinctive costume with voluminous hair became one of the most memorable. For this role, the actress received widespread recognition and the title of the Most Beautiful Woman of 1978, as well as advertising contracts with major brands. In 1936, during the Great Depression, so-called penny auctions took place in Michigan. Local residents gathered at these events, joining forces to place minimal bids of just a few cents, intimidating potential buyers. Gallows were often displayed at such auctions as a warning to anyone who tried to bid at real prices. As a result, the bank received only a symbolic sum, and the people returned the farm to its original owner, who then reimbursed the Farmers Association with a small amount. This photograph from the 1970s captures a touching moment when a deaf man hugs a speaker to his chest to feel music through vibrations. This method allows one to sense the rhythm and vibrations of musical compositions through physical contact with the sound source. The main work of sculptor Selma Burke is a bas-relief of Franklin Roosevelt. Burke created it in 1944 after 2 poing sessions with the president at the White House. The bas-relief was installed in 1945 in the Recorder of Deeds building in Washington. It is believed that this work became the prototype for Roosevelt's image on the dime. The legendary Super Soaker water gun was invented by engineer Lonnie Johnson in 1982. While working at NASA on a cooling system, he noticed that pressurized water formed a powerful stream. Johnson created a prototype water gun from plexiglass and gave it to his daughter. Thus, the Super Soaker became popular worldwide. This photograph shows Paul Rubens in the early 1970s, a few years before he created the comedic character Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman, a grown man with the innocent gaze of a child, quickly won over audiences and became the star of 2 television shows and several films. British singer Kim Wilde rose to fame in 1981, thanks to the hit Kids in America, which reached 2nd place on the UK chart. In 1983, she received the Brit Award for Best British Female Solo Artist, and subsequently gained popularity in other countries as well. During her career, Wilde sold over 10 million albums and 20 million singles. In the 1930s, cafes were a very popular meeting place for people in many countries. This photo was taken in Warsaw and shows 2 women of the time spending their free time at such an establishment. The photograph perfectly captures the atmosphere of that era. This photo shows Dave Chappelle and Cary Elwes on the set of the film Robin Hood Men in Tights, released in 1993. Chappelle played the role of Achu, while Elwes played the lead role of Robin Hood. Interestingly, this film marked Chappelle's film debut. This photo captures a woman's joy at being able to participate in the presidential elections in the United States. On November 13, 1982, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was officially opened in Washington, D.C. This photo was taken on the day of the event and shows a Vietnam War veteran with his girlfriend. In the 1960s, unusual vending machines appeared in London. In 1962, the first potato vending machine in the United Kingdom was opened in Chelsea. Machines selling fresh farm eggs also became widespread. These innovations were part of the vending industry's growth in the post-war era, when vending machines began offering increasingly unique products. In October 1956, Marilyn Monroe and her husband, Arthur Miller, attended the London premiere of the film Battle of the River Plate. Interestingly, Queen Elizabeth II was also present at the event. Monroe was very nervous about meeting the Queen, but need not have been. After the event, Queen Elizabeth became a fan of the actress's work. In 1999, Mariska Hargitay landed the leading role of Detective Olivia Benson in the TV series Law & Order Special Victims Unit. After a successful audition in which she outperformed several other candidates, she was cast alongside Christopher Maloney as her partner. The show's creator, Dick Wolf, highly praised their acting duo. This role earned the actress critical acclaim and prestigious awards, including a Golden Globe and an Emmy. This photograph was taken in 1962 during the filming of the movie Dr. No, in which Sean Connery played the role of James Bond and Ursula Andress portrayed Honey Ryder, a seashell diver. This film became the first movie about the famous agent 007. Honey Ryder became memorable to viewers thanks to the iconic scene where Andress appears in a white bikini emerging from the water. The film was a huge success and marked the beginning of the legendary James Bond franchise. In 1955, a public information organization operated in Times Square using traditional communication methods. Its representatives placed billboards and posters in the very heart of New York, where they were visible to millions of people. This photo was taken in 1996. It shows famous American rapper Notorious B.I.G. with a clothing store owner during the artist's visit to Detroit, Michigan. In 2018, a man shared a photo of himself that recreated a picture of his father taken in 1984. The man replicated not only the location, but also his father's pose and outfit. The Chevrolet Corvette C2 of the year 1963 is an iconic American sports car created by designer Bill Mitchell. This model featured a unique design with a split rear window, streamlined shapes, and pop-up headlights. The car was equipped with a V8 engine producing between 250 to 360 horsepower. In total, more than 117,000 cars of this generation were produced. A photo of wrestler Mark Calloway, known as The Undertaker, standing next to an elderly woman sparked rumors that she was his grandmother. However, in an interview, the wrestler admitted he didn't know who the woman was or under what circumstances the photo had been taken. Her identity remains a mystery. Susan Kare joined Apple in the early 1980s with no experience in computer graphics, but with a doctorate in fine arts. She created key fonts for Macintosh, such as Chicago, Geneva, and Monaco. She also designed essential interface elements, the Happy Mac icon, the trash can, and basic command icons, making them simple and memorable. This photo features Hedy Lamarr, Tommy Dorsey, and Merle Oberon. These stars of the era gathered at a nightclub and were captured in this image from 1939. This shot was taken from a military helicopter. It shows thousands of American soldiers aboard a ship returning home after the end of World War II. In the 1930s, Harlem had many shops, most of which were owned by African Americans. Despite the high crime rates in the area even then, merchants didn't give up and kept opening new businesses. Locals had access to pharmacies, grocery stores, furniture shops, and more. This photo shows a traveler who, despite his age, remains young at heart and dedicated to his passion. In this photograph taken in 1986, a man is captured on his first working day at NASA. The role of Stanley Kowalski in the film A Streetcar Named Desire in 1951 made Marlon Brando a Hollywood star. The 23-year-old actor played the rough but charismatic character so convincingly that this negative role won over audiences. After this film, Brando became the main sex symbol of the 50s and a role model for many American actors of subsequent generations. Later, the actor received an Oscar for his role in The Godfather. This photo was taken in the 1980s. It shows Led Zeppelin's lead singer Robert Plant signing an album for a police officer. Led Zeppelin is one of the most successful rock bands in history. In total, the band sold more than 300 million albums worldwide. Led Zeppelin was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and received numerous prestigious awards, including the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. In this 1965 photo, we see a secretary of the General Motors Technical Center in Warren, Michigan. Every building in this complex looked like it came from the future. The center became a symbol of innovation in the automotive industry and an important site for the development of automotive technology. The complex covered an area of 2.5 square kilometers and was equipped with advanced tools for designing new car models. Salma Hayek and Edward Norton began dating in 1999. Their relationship was serious. Norton even proposed to the actress and she accepted. However, the couple broke up due to a busy filming schedule and constant travel. Despite the breakup, the actors maintained a good relationship. This image shows an unusual invention from the 1920s, the telepathic amplifier. It was created by Constantin Brancusi in Paris. Brancusi was fascinated by paranormal phenomena and space and proposed this device, which was supposed to enable communication between worlds through the power of thought. However, supernatural abilities were required to operate it, so no one was ever able to demonstrate its capabilities. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and John Wooden maintained a close friendship for nearly 50 years. Their relationship began when Wooden coached Kareem at the University of California, Los Angeles. Under Wooden's guidance, Abdul-Jabbar helped the team win 3 national championships. The coach had a significant impact on Kareem's character. Wooden's main lesson was to focus on the process, not the result. This photograph was taken in 1946. It shows Albert Einstein during a visit to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. Lincoln University was the first in the United States to grant bachelor's degrees to black students. With his visit, Einstein openly opposed racial inequality and expressed support for the civil rights of black Americans. In the early 20th century, rat catchers appeared in France to help residents of large cities combat the spread of various dangerous diseases. These workers operated in sewers, constantly in contact with infectious rodents. Despite the low pay and hazardous conditions, their work significantly reduced disease transmission. In the 1940s and 50s, sailors' kisses with the loved ones became both a symbol of farewell and reunion. Many photographs were taken during these years, capturing such moments, which reflect genuine emotions and heartfelt experiences during wartime uncertainty. This photo shows the famous Monica Bellucci in 1991. She began her career at the age of 16 as a model, participating in fashion shows in Florence and Milan. In 1990, Bellucci made her film debut in Vita coi figli. Over her career, she received numerous awards, including the Legion of Honor. Monica Bellucci remains one of the most sought-after actresses and models, maintaining her status as a global sex symbol. Danish model Renee Toft Simonsen began her career by chance. While working as a cashier, she was discovered by a photographer. In 1982, Simonsen won the Ford Supermodel of the World contest and moved to New York, where she became one of the world's top models. She appeared in American and German Vogue, represented brands such as Clarins, Maybelline, CoverGirl, and also acted in 2 films. Joan Baez and Bob Dylan met in 1961 at a New York folk club. Baez helped promote Dylan's music, performed his songs, and invited him to her concerts. They appeared together at important events, including Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington in 1963. Their romantic relationship lasted until 1965. After their breakup, Baez dedicated her famous song, Diamonds and Rust, to Dylan. Despite the separation, the artists continued to collaborate. In the first episode of Late Night with Conan O'Brien in 1993, a funny moment occurred involving John Goodman and George Wendt. After Goodman's interview, the two engaged in a playful league wrestling match. This became one of the most memorable moments of the debut episode. The role of Forrest Gump became one of the most successful in Tom Hanks's career. The actor received his second Oscar for it and significantly strengthened his status in Hollywood. Interestingly, Hanks declined a fixed fee in favor of a percentage of the film's revenue. This decision earned him around $60 to $70 million, as the film grossed more than $678 million at the box office. In 1997, Neve Campbell achieved major success with her role as Sidney Prescott in the film Scream. For this role, she received the Saturn Award for Best Film Actress. In the same year, she also starred in the second part of the franchise, Scream 2, which grossed over $170 million at the box office. This photo shows children on a school bus before a Halloween celebration. Today, the picture may seem quite creepy, but at the time, the kids were excited for the upcoming fun and surely didn't imagine that years later, their costumes would look rather strange. The first hippie festival in Glastonbury took place in 1970 under the name Pilton Pop, Blues and Folk Festival. It was organized by farmer Michael Eavis. About 1,500 people attended the festival. Although it did not turn a profit, it marked the beginning of Glastonbury's legendary history. This photograph was taken in 1906. It shows U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt and naturalist John Muir at the Glacier Point overlook in Yosemite National Park, California. This photo symbolizes their close cooperation in environmental protection. Thanks to Muir's influence, Roosevelt designated about 194 million acres of land as national parks and in 1905 founded the Forest Service to manage these areas. This photo shows a young married couple. The first picture was taken in 1964, and this one in 2021, nearly 60 years later. These spouses have managed to preserve their marriage over such a long time and still love each other dearly. In the 1990s, Blue Lagoon star Brooke Shields continued her acting career, landing notable roles in the series Suddenly Susan and the film The Misadventures of Margaret. At the same time, she engaged in public work, promoting a harmonious blend of femininity and physical fitness. In 1972, George Carlin was arrested in Milwaukee after performing his monologue, 7 Words You Can Never Say on Television, at the Summerfest Festival. The comedian was detained for using obscene language, which sparked public outrage. The incident became a major precedent in the fight for freedom of speech in the United States and solidified Carlin's reputation as a provocative artist. In 1981, a famous photograph of a sleeping Princess Diana was taken at a ball at the Victoria and Albert Museum. The image caused a scandal in British society, as such behavior was not considered appropriate to members of the royal family. However, it was later revealed that Diana's fatigue had a serious reason. She was pregnant with the future Prince William. Once the reasons became known, the scandal subsided, and Buckingham Palace responded with understanding. Howard Ashman was an American playwright and lyricist. He became famous for his work with Alan Menken on Disney animated films. Together, they created the music and lyrics for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. Ashman received 2 Academy Awards and 5 Grammy Awards. Despite being diagnosed with AIDS in 1988, he continued to work until the end of his life. The film Beauty and the Beast was released a few months after his death and was dedicated to his memory. In the late 1970s, work was underway at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on a project to develop wearable computers. In 1981, Steve Mann created the first prototype, a microprocessor 6502 in a backpack, which controlled photographic equipment via a display mounted on a helmet. Later came inventions such as augmented reality glasses and electronics embedded in a vest designed to monitor the surrounding environment. The developers also worked on the creation of a modular cybersuit. In this photo, you can see the pioneers of this project. In 1988, a photo was taken of 24-year-old Keanu Reeves during the Toronto International Film Festival. The actor posed on a couch at the Four Seasons Hotel while battling a cold. At the time, Reeves was just starting his film career. He later became the star of films such as Speed, The Matrix, and John Wick. This photo shows ordinary children playing in a room. However, some internet users noted that the kids resemble the main characters of the American TV series Stranger Things. These frames from 1945 show the joy of the Easy Company soldiers after capturing the Eagle's Nest, Hitler's hunting lodge located in the Bavarian Alps at an altitude of 1,834 meters above sea level. In the 1990s, photographer Arthur Grace captured a humorous photo of actor Robin Williams jokingly offering a roll of toilet paper to the famous sculpture The Thinker by Auguste Rodin. In the 1980s, motorcycle culture among women gained popularity worldwide. Riding motorcycles was seen as a symbol of independence and freedom, and bikes were more accessible than cars. Women actively formed their own motorcycle clubs and adopted biker fashion while choosing light and fast motorcycles. Cass Elliot and Michelle Phillips were members of the group The Mamas and the Papas. Cass, known as Mama Cass, had a powerful voice, while Michelle was the wife of group founder John Phillips and co-writer of the famous song California Dreamin'. Tensions arose between the women due to Michelle's affair with Denny Doherty. In 1966, Michelle was temporarily excluded from the group but later returned. The band reached the peak of its popularity in the late 1960s. The original Paramount Pictures logo appeared in 1914 when the company's founder, William Wadsworth Hodgkinson, drew it on a napkin. He depicted a mountain based on his memories of the Utah Mountains and surrounded it with 24 stars, representing the actors who signed contracts with the company. In 1986, for the studio's 75th anniversary, Paramount's management asked artist Dario Campanella to create a new version of the logo. He painted the Mountain of Dreams with a snow-capped peak and a lake at its base. This version was used from 1987 to 2002. Frenchwoman Laetitia Casta began her modeling career in 1993 with a campaign for Guess, after which she quickly signed contracts with prestigious brands Louis Vuitton and Yves Saint Laurent. By the age of 18, she had already become one of the most in-demand models, standing out with her natural beauty and feminine curves. This photo shows Sigourney Weaver with her parents during the filming of Alien in 1979. Her parents always tried to support their daughter and occasionally accompanied her on set. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, video games became a family activity. Nintendo Entertainment System and Sega Mega Drive consoles appeared in many homes. Parents often helped their kids pass difficult levels in Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and other games. This was the beginning of family gaming traditions. In 1956, Jane Mansfield played her first leading role on television in the ABC series Bachelor Father. This marked an important step in her television career. She later also appeared on British television, where she showcased her talents. This woman was not only beautiful, she read Shakespeare brilliantly and played the piano and violin masterfully. This photo, taken in the 1990s, shows Bruce Willis with his children. Despite his successful career, the actor always tried to spend all his free time with his family. This photo from 1922 captures the moment Albert Einstein gave a lecture on the theory of relativity. This woman photographed herself at her workplace in 1992. In 2019, she decided to recreate the shot and took another photo of herself at work. These pictures illustrate how quickly time flies. Dolly Parton and Carl Thomas Dean met in 1964 in a laundromat in Nashville when the singer was 18 and Carl was 21. Their marriage, entered into in 1966, lasted nearly 60 years and became a symbol of a strong family bonds. The spouses were complete opposites. Dolly was a country music star, while Carl, who avoided publicity, owned an asphalt business. Nonetheless, their union proved strong due to mutual respect and a shared sense of humor. Canadian actor John Franklin Candy was always known for his large physique. However, that didn't stop him from being cheerful and building a successful career. This photo from 1998 shows him with his secretary. Meena Suvari began her acting career at the age of 15. However, she rose to true fame in the late 1990s thanks to her roles in American Beauty and the American Pie film series. She later appeared into television series such as ER and American Horror Story, among other projects. Her filmography includes over 130 credits. This photo shows Gene Wilder admiring the new car of his colleague Jack Albertson. The photo was taken in 1971 after the filming of the legendary movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. In the 1950s, Betty Page was actively working as a pin-up model and often posed in swimsuits. Her iconic look featured trademark bangs, voluminous curls, and bold makeup. In all her photo shoots, she exuded a natural ease and charm that became her signature style. Interestingly, Betty often sewed her own costumes for shoots, and later, designers even released a line of bikinis under her name. This photo captures a moment when U.S. President Lyndon Johnson is singing with his dog Yuki in the presence of his grandson. Yuki was the president's beloved dog, whom he found and adopted in 1966. This image shows George Clooney at the age of 15. At the time, the young man had no idea he would become a world-famous actor. George Clooney became known for his role in the TV series ER, but gained greater fame with the film From Dusk Till Dawn and the Ocean's 11 trilogy. This photo, taken in 1998, shows Pope Francis, then Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio. As seen in the image, he is riding public transportation instead of using a personal vehicle. It is known that the future pontiff regularly used public transit, rejecting the privileges of high church office. In this way, he demonstrated his closeness to ordinary people and a modest lifestyle. This photo shows the carefree childhood of young Londoners in the early 1930s. At that time, children spent a lot of time outdoors, often without adult supervision. Today, this may seem unsafe, but back then, it was considered normal. Hugh Thompson Jr., a reconnaissance helicopter pilot, witnessed the mass killing of civilians in the Vietnamese village of My Lai in March 1968. He opposed such actions and decided to save the people. Thompson landed his helicopter between the pursuing American soldiers and the civilians, ordering his crew to open fire on their own if the soldiers continued killing the unarmed. Thanks to this man, planned operations in neighboring villages were canceled, saving those residents from similar genocide. This photo taken in the subway holds special meaning for a Japanese man who visited New York for the first time that day. This man tried to create a true celebration for his daughter's birthday because her mother had passed away shortly before the event. This photo shows American soldiers watching the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in March 1944 in the midst of World War II. For 10 days, the volcano spewed lava and ash. The lava fountain reached a height of 800 meters, and the eruptive column rose above the volcano to 9,000 meters. Powerful lava flows, 90 meters wide and 9 meters deep, destroyed the towns of San Sebastiano and Massa, leaving only ruins. The number of victims of this natural disaster amounted to 27 people. In March 1966, one of the most devastating blizzards in history occurred in North Dakota. Over 3 days, between 50 and 80 centimeters of snow fell in the region, with hurricane-force winds exceeding 150 kilometers per hour. Snowdrifts up to 9 to 12 meters high formed. This storm paralyzed the state's life. Schools were closed, power was cut off, roads were blocked, and visibility in Bismarck did not exceed 200 meters for 30 hours. The blizzard claimed at least 18 lives. And that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon. Your support means the world to me. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.